Boxing King Media, powered by BYD and the Riyadh season. Steffy Bull out here in Saudi Arabia. Have you been here before, Steffy?
No, it's my first time. Do I hold that or do you hold that? Can I take it off you? No, it's my first time.
What's your first impressions? What were your expectations and how is it?
I didn't know what to expect. I've been to Dubai a couple of times, so very similar culture. But how you get treated and how things are here, you know, the hotel's beautiful, the food is nice, everything runs meticulous, very professional, and like the what can you say? Just everything's like well produced and dramatised. It's fantastic. It's brilliant for fighters to be on these events. Is unbelievable because some fighters will never be world champion, and these events are putting very good competitive fights on. But like for example, I'll use Liam Cameron. You know, it makes me so happy to see him here and enjoying this kind of occasion with adversity he's gone through. So yeah, fantastic, and I'm blown away by it.
I know you've had a lot of good success recently, you know, with Terri, but I'm going to come on to Terri in a bit. We'll start with Raven Chapman. You're here for Raven as her manager. A tough task, you know, on paper, you know, like I said to Raven the other day, on paper, Sky Nicolson hasn't lost any rounds, like maybe one or two.
Yeah.
So she's very hard to win rounds against. And I asked Raven how she's going to kind of combat that. And she said she's going to make her hate every minute of being in the ring with her.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a fantastic fight, and it's a fight that I think it's the two best non-big names featherweights. When you think Serrano's the big name in that division, she's cleared up. She's been undisputed and held the belts for a long time. And she's the big name and everyone's gunning for her. But I genuinely believe that Sky and Raven's the best fight in this division. And to be on this event is absolutely massive because it's a great way for girls to be motivated and to be inspired that these two are leading the way and having the opportunity. Now, hopefully, it opens the doors for other big fights. But back to Sky and Raven, I think it's got stylistically, it can go two ways. It can be a really boring fight, which I'm hoping it isn't, or it can be built two good styles because you're going to have Sky, who's long, punch picking, she's very good at being negative. She's very good at what she does. Whereas Raven's totally opposite. She's like a throwback professional. She's got quite, it might sound a bit weird, she's got like a male style. She's strong, she's aggressive, she punches body to head, she throws a lot more body shots than head shots, she's quite relentless. And obviously, any coach in the world's going to be telling Raven what she's got to do. You've got to get on Sky's chest, you've got to make it hard, you've got to be messy, you've got to be brutal. But saying that's easier said than done when you've got somebody who's technically good like Sky. But if anybody can do it, it's Raven who can do it.
We don't get many knockouts in women's boxing, so if it's an issue of, like you said there, if Sky's negative and decides to pick up points on rounds, is there enough power in this fight for somebody to get a knockout?
Yeah, I mean, knockouts are few and far between in the female fights, aren't they? With the 2 minutes and the minute's rest, you're getting high tempos, but I think the extra minute would change that course. But I'm all for why change anything that works. Some of the best fights that we talked about earlier, the names mentioned in them 3 fights that you said stick in your head, that's because they've been high tempo, high volume, but you don't get many knockouts in the females. So Raven's just got to, she's got the power for knockouts, don't get me wrong. She had a couple of stoppages early on in her career. She punches very hard to body, but Sky's like genuine world class. She's got the ability to she's been there at the highest level in the amateurs, so she'll know all the way around the ring safely. And she's I can't see a knockout in this fight. I just see a high paced, high tempo, well matched fight.
It's going to be a fascinating fight, and like I said, it's the first women's fight in Saudi Arabia on these shows that are happening. What do you make of the whole event in itself, with regards to the card? Which other fights kind of stick out apart from the main event?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them all. Even down to Liam and Ben. I think that's a good fight. Liam showed his mettle in his last fight, headlining on Channel 5. How good is Ben Whitaker? He looks phenomenal. He's great for TV. But Liam's been there as well as an amateur. He's been at an high level. So if Ben was to do a job on Liam, you'd be like very impressed. But Liam's done that well in his last fight. You're going to be expecting a competitive fight. So I'm looking forward to that one. Obviously, friends with Liam and a fellow Yorkshire. So I'm going to be having my eyes on that one. But Massey and Pataya's a good fight. It's like, I think, you know, Massey's very underrated. He's very good at what he does. He's good at the basics. He's big. He's a big cruiserweight. So it's stacked all the way through. It's quite, you know, and then the big one with Bivol and Beterbiev, it's arguably the best fight in boxing. So I'm quite gassed that I'm out here and having the pleasure to be amongst it all and being in and around it. It's great.
So you and Joe Gallagher looked like you made peace earlier. I know he come up and congratulated you about Terri's win. You know, how was that? Was any awkwardness when he come up to you?
No, not at all. I mean, do you know what? About boxing, it's when all's said and done, it's like I put the picture on my socials. When all's said and done, it's just a job. And like, you know, Joe, he was really, really nice. Which were nice. It kind of brought the ice because he was genuinely happy that, you know, Terri's winning and being a freeweight world champion. He championed her performance and he was impressed. And he says, like, just had, you know, that's her weight division, and he knew that should be an handful down there. And yeah, it was nice, it was pleasant, and we just had a little chat about just boxing in general. He showed me around the Mike Tyson gym, which were unbelievable. So it was nice for a catch up and talk boxing without having cameras in and staring a fight and staring a bit of beef. So it was good, yeah.
That's good. It shows, you know, most people in boxing are pretty genuine, and I think sometimes fans that see what you see on camera and they just take it as like that's it's always beef, but it's not, is it?
Yeah, it's obviously Terri and Jonas has been back and forth since the first fight, and there's that much gone on. Do you know what? It's not even a fight that even crosses my head anymore. I know we seen Joe earlier, and it don't even get me, like, it doesn't even cross my mind. They're two totally different weights. Don't get me wrong. It would have been massive, and it's probably missed the boat. And I wish Joe and Natasha a lot of success, and hopefully, obviously, she's coming to back end of her career, and hopefully she gets another big paydays.
Talking of Terri, a big win for her at the weekend, and I think it's fair to say I don't think I met many experts in boxing that picked Terri to win. Most people were expecting her to lose. A lot were predicting a stoppage win. So how satisfying was it in the manner that she won, which was quite decisive?
Yeah, do you know what? It's heartwarming because you know, I've championed Terri since the day she turned professional, and I pushed her that much myself single-handedly on social media and banged the drum to get her where she's at. And obviously we finally got there, but I think she needed that win. She needed that win for her own. We're in a modern world where we talk strongly about mental health, but I think she really needed that win. And I know what's like, it's so funny when you really do think about the contents of this. That was Terri's last fight contractually with Matchroom, and she was fighting for a career, like 27 years old, 2 defeats, and arguably fighting for a world title in another weight division. But most of all, if she had a defeat, maybe she might have turned away. And that was hard for me because believe it or not, or people can say what they want, she's shot, she's not the same fighter. They're not seeing what I see every day in gym, and she's in the form of her life, fitness-wise, performance-wise, sparring. You could ask she spars top fighters, and they'll all tell you that, you know, how good Terri is and how she's performing. She's got all the experience now. There's not much she hasn't experienced in boxing, with defeats, winning big fights, being main events, all British world title fights, injuries, coming back from career, and she's experienced it all. She's 27 years old. It's absolutely crazy to think And I was so happy for it, and you could see when they shouted and that when it was announced and they know after, the joy in that young woman's, it melted me heart, because she's such a lovely person, she's so humble, and she's done fantastic, because I don't even think Terri realises what she's actually achieved. I think it'll be in years to come, and I called it legacy. Freeweight world champion is, because the pool with the women is a much smaller depth, but it's getting harder and harder now because there's a lot more females turning professional, and good females. And Terri at 27-year-old is a freeweight world champion, genuinely. She's beat world champions in all 3 fights, beat reigning champions, never a vacant title. She's beat, and she's been the challenger. So yeah, phenomenal performance, stuck to the game plan, boxed brilliant.
What was the game plan? Obviously, she kept it long.
Call it staying on the outside, but
Outside of what? The outside.
Sure, outside arena, running outside.
I've heard people say she was on the outside of the outside, but obviously it's that were your tactics to obviously box long, yeah?
Yeah, because actually Terri's best performances, in my opinion, has been against southpaws. The Jonas fight were a fantastic fight. She stopped a girl, I think she's called Perez, or she stopped an Argentinian early on in her career who were a southpaw. But we've got Ellie Elliwell in gym, Jason Cunningham over the years, Robbie Barrett. All she's done is spar southpaws. But her fundamentals, she's got a really long, straight, good backhand. And it's a beautiful shot, and it's perfect for southpaws. And she's got that much patience with teeing up and her back, just one shot. And you could hear us in the fight just explaining, just sit off one shot, and it was just, and that's all she had to do. I would say, I'd go as far as saying, in female fights in a round, if you can go 2 or 3 clear shots without getting one back, you're winning the rounds. So she got it spot on, and yeah, she lives for another day, which is fantastic.
Yeah, credit to her, because I can imagine that. I think she said in one of the interviews where mentally to carry that into the fight and knowing that people are against you, and if you lose, it's the end of the road. So the pressure of that, and then obviously fighting a woman that punches really hard as well.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to give Rihanna some credit, because she's come from white collar. She's been on a great run. She reminded me, and I mentioned it, we did an interview on Run Up with Crawler, and she reminded me a little bit like when Terri had her run at super featherweight, where she was just getting good momentum. But just the experience was the difference, and we never doubted at all that, you know, you could probably argue that it was 8-2 in rounds, but Rihanna was very competitive. She will grow. I'm a strong believer that fighters grow from defeat. We make changes, we reset, we look at why we lost, and I think she'll grow and come back, because fundamentally she's young. She's got good team around her, and I do believe she'll come back and have a good career.
What is next for her? Like, there's obviously Caroline Dubois at that weight, but obviously she's with boxers, so I don't know how that works. You know, what's the promotional situation as well? You know, what's the bigger picture?
Yeah, so obviously Terri, just like that, were a long training camp, dates getting changed, moved back. She put a lot of effort into that. I mean, she didn't half train hard, you know. She was brilliant throughout, never moaned, never got down when we had changes of venues, changes of dates. So just total rest. She's on holiday, I'm here. Then when we get back, we'll sit down as a team and have a discuss. But that was a last fight contractually Matchroom, but on back of the win, I did agree they have got an option on her, but I think it'll just be a matter of negotiating a new contract now. Terri's in a great position. She's well supported, freeweight world champion, and sat back at top at Tree. So yeah, like you say, there's some big fights in this division, and we'll do what's best for Terri Harper. That's what we'll do.
What fight realistically do you want, though? If you was going to call out one of the champions or defend it, what do you think's right?
I don't. To be totally honest, it's not something that I've even thought about, because we were that invested. Like, we all got into our heads that potentially, if Terri didn't win, that might well have been her last fight as a professional boxer, because a defeat would have been 2 defeats on bounce. Where does she go from here? Well, her last fight with Matchroom, the only opportunity she would have been for little monies in a weight corner against good fighters, and I would never let Terri be in that. But we were that invested on getting the win that I've not even thought about what's next, and I've come straight here with Raven. So my manager Ed, when I get home, he'll get on then, and I'll sit down with Terri. We'll have a look at what we think. We'll have a look at what's on table and go with what we think's best.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think that's it really. Just a quick one. Who are you picking in the main event Saturday night?
I've changed a couple of times, but I'm going to stick my head out and go with Bivol. That's what I'm going to go with. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people are split, to be fair. So yeah, I think that's it really. When's your next show? I know Ryan told me a few weeks ago. Do you want to remind everyone?
Yeah, we've got a show at Rotherham Magna Centre on November the 9th, Saturday night. So I think we've got a 9-10 fight card, just your local fighters. We've got a couple of area title fights on there, a couple of female fights. So yeah, 9th of November. But while I'm on, if you don't mind, I want to give Jason Cunningham a special shout out for him and Josh Padley's fantastic massive win on the AJ card a couple of weeks ago. Absolute underdogs, absolutely had no chance of winning in people's minds, and what a performance from young Josh Padley to upset the apple cart and get that massive win on that massive stage. I think it was like a 12-1 underdog or something like that. Unbelievable. So shout out to Josh Padley and Jason. Yeah, they did brilliant.
Indeed, they definitely did. Steffy, pleasure, and hopefully I'll see you after the fight. May the best lady win.
Yes.